Welcome, everybody, to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. It is Wednesday, April the 10th, and like every Wednesday, I'm Ross Benjamin, by the way, and I'm joined every Wednesday by Mr. Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs, all three of us of our sponsor site, gamblersworld.net, where not only us three, but 7 other great handicappers in addition to. And we guarantee our picks at gamblersworld.net, folks. And that simply means that if you don't win, you don't make a profit. We will credit your account back the exact amount in which you paid on any single game, multi-game daily package or subscription plan of 30 days or fewer. Don't forget, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. You've been watching. You like sports betting, and it's free. Who doesn't like free? A lot of you out there like free. I know that because most of you out there watch these but don't pay for anything on our premium side. But that's okay because there's a market for all of us. Hopefully you're learning something by this, but just click on that subscribe button and that will get you set up and as a subscriber over at our Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. And then also go into your YouTube settings and click on that alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our 5 podcasts going up here weekly. Jesse, how are you?
Not bad, Ross. Just one game last night. Had the New York Knickerbockers. It was a winner, thankfully. I'm going to be conservative this week because until the NBA playoffs start, I don't see really throwing out a ton of games out there. Both the NHL and the NBA, just a few games left. I think this is a dangerous time of year to get too excited about putting out too many games. So don't expect me to be throwing out big cards at this time of year.
Yeah, we've discussed this and hammered this into your head, folks out there that have been watching, about what to look for the final weeks of the regular season. In this particular matter, we're getting down to the final week. A lot of teams mathematically eliminated from playoff contentions. Other teams that are just playing to get to the finish line healthy, entering the playoffs. And then there's games like I'm going to cover tonight, Minnesota and Denver, where they're tied for the number 1 seed in the West. And certainly that comes with home court advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs. But Sean, how are you, my man?
All right. A little annoyed with my baseball yesterday. I had a rare losing baseball day. Yankees run line and a Brave run. Are you kidding me? Brave run line? I'm thinking 5 in the last 2 innings. Yanks leave 20 guys on base. 10 with. Come on, just terrible. Whatever, it is what it is. And I'm not scared to fire. I'm not taking conservative in baseball. Listen, I haven't put an NBA pick out in quite a bit. This is the time of year, like Jesse said, hockey, NBA wrapping things up. You want to just kind of sit back and maybe there's something really strong. I doubt it. I mean, like you said, Ross, you got 2 teams playing for something, but you got a lot of nothings going on, and you can't just blindly go, oh, 2 bad teams are playing, let's go over. One guy might show up, the other guy doesn't, and you get an under. It's tread lightly. You don't have to play. There's other sports going on like baseball that's meaningful right now, where both teams want to win. There's always hope in April.
Yeah, exactly right. And my Yankees 10-2, but it comes with a red flag with me. You look at that lineup right now, and they're getting a lot of accolades, and Soto's certainly been a great addition, but there's a lot of holes in that lineup. There's 4 guys or so they've been starting every day that are hitting below 200. Stanton's starting to come on. Judge is hitting below 200. The catcher spot with Trevino and Wells, I don't know who's going to hit between those two. I don't foresee anything there.
I mean, listen, as a Yankee guy too, like Wells, at least I don't mind. You want to play a rookie, bring him up. He's a problem. I don't care if he's going to struggle. That's and if you're a Yankee fan, you got to say, well, thank goodness we're actually using a young player, right? Volpe's kind of coming onto his own now. Cabrera's having a nice little start to his. Let him play. Let him. A Yankee fan, and I think this would pretty much go for maybe not a lot of teams because at least the Yanks spend money. But if you had a young top 5 prospect in your organization, you'd want him to play. Why? Yeah. I don't think a fan would be like, "Oh, don't play this guy." Like you're foaming at the mouth for Dominguez, who's 20 years old and who's taken 9 at bats. Yeah. Let the young guys play. If they struggle, I need Judge, I need Stanton, I need Rizzo to play like their baseball cards.
Stanton looks like he's getting locked in now, which is is
Yeah.
something that's pleasant to see.
It's
If
always the
you're,
pitching with the Yanks, though.
yeah, well, I mean, they two games in a row now. They got pretty good performances from Nestor Cortez, who pitched 8 scoreless innings, and yesterday they got 6 scoreless innings out of Carlos Rodon, so who's pitched well in 3 starts. Anyway, let me refresh what I've been doing lately. All sports on a 33-21 run over at gamblesworld.net. These are the pay selections, folks. NBA totals 5-1 last 6. I won 2-1 yesterday. NBA, both winners were NBA totals. NBA side 76-51 since April 11th of last year, 60%. And Major League Baseball since August 4th of last year, 59-34, 63%. All at gamblersworld.net. And folks, Jesse Schule is at the top of the leaderboard. Sean Higgs, coming off a terrific college football season, and his forte is baseball. And if you are somebody who likes a lot of action in baseball, Sean is your guy. And you have to grind it out and use proper money management. So all 3 of us ready to make you some money over at gamblersworld.net. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. That's our 3 NBA games today. And we'll start with Sean. The Mavericks and the Heat. The Dallas Mavericks are a 3.5-point home favorite. The total 215. This line opened at 5 or 5.5, if I recall correctly, and it's now down to 3.5. Heat coming off an overtime win last night over Atlanta, and the total 215 in this game. Sean, where are you going with this?
Yeah, a double OT for the Heat last night, and a big win for the Mavs. And I think we saw the total also move down from, I think, a 219 down to a 215 here. With the maybe Lucas sits out. The Mavs are pretty much locked into their spot, right? That I don't see them really falling too far. But I like the over here because of, okay, both teams in a back-to-back, which is you're going to have some tired legs. You got Dallas, who looks like, for appearance purposes, they might sit a guy or two. But them guys coming in who want to fill the stat sheet. I got tired legs for Miami. I got a Miami team that's, working their own injured guys back. Like Hero's back. He had a big night last night. He's going to come out on fire away. And they're also, I think, about a game out of the play-ins, right? They're the 8th spot. Do you think they want to be in the play-in round again? I mean, the Sixers, to me, are a team, I don't know. You got the Embiid. Who knows what they're going to be? They got 2 games versus Toronto to wrap up the season after this. I think they could say, hey, we win here. We win 3 in a row. Maybe we get out of the play-in situation. There is some motivation there. I cannot see teams wanting to play an extra game. I don't know. That's just me. Call me crazy. I'm going to go over. I think we see some points. Take the over here.
All right. So Sean likes the Mavericks and the Heat over 215. And Jesse Schule, who's loves his unders, but he'll still throw in some overs on occasion. Agree or disagree, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree, and I think Sean's hit the nail on the head when he said they might rest Luka. I brought it up yesterday that last week I had a play on the Mavs in a really good spot against the Warriors, catching the Warriors in the second game of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and the Mavs go and rest Luka. And that was the only game in the last 2 weeks that they've lost, I think. So, yeah, if they're going to do it then, why aren't they going to do it tonight? Seems like a similar spot where you'd see them resting Luka. So rather than Dallas, the over seems to make sense.
Yeah, something's up, because if that total moved that far, they're not going to move a total 4 points in the NBA this quickly unless it's player related. And what player would move the total that many, or even if it's Luka and somebody else, it's got to be player related. However, this is what people lose sight of. Just because of a star player is out, like Sean's just touched upon, they're all NBA players. They're all going to want to stuff the stat sheet, as Sean just said. And the style of play of teams doesn't change. I mean, at this point, everybody has an identity for the most part, especially good teams. And Dallas's identity is they're a prolific offensive team, and they like to play up tempo. So we'll see what happens. But Sean is on the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Dallas Mavericks and the Miami Heat to go over 215. Jesse's going to be covering the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks game. And right now, the Bucks are pick 'em and the total's 216. Jesse, Orlando coming off a terrible effort last night in a 12-point loss, and talk about a team that's playing for something. Again, them and Miami are neck and neck. We just discussed the Heat, and Sean briefed us on them. The Bucks, after losing 4 in a row, and 3 of them as double-digit favorites, bounced back and beat the Boston Celtics last night, who virtually are not playing for anything. There's no dire urgency there. They have the number 1 seed locked up. But, Jesse, what's your take on this one? Pick them in 216.
Well, there's no way I could be on the Bucks, especially after what we saw last night. They won the game, but Giannis gets carted off, and they're happy that it's not an Achilles injury, but they're saying it's a calf injury, and it reminds me of the injury that Kawhi Leonard had when he was with the Spurs and they were in the playoffs. You can say it's just a calf injury, but a calf injury can keep you out for a long time too if it's the right injury. And yeah, I'm skeptical that Giannis is going to be healthy for the playoffs this year. I think the Bucks are reeling. The fact that they were 0-4 heading into last night's game with losses to Washington, Memphis, and Toronto during that span, and they're not going anywhere. They're not moving up in the standings. They will play at home when the playoffs start. The Bucks will be at home, and if the Orlando Magic want to start the playoffs at home, they have to win this game tonight. So motivation to the Orlando Magic, and a Bucks team that's just a bit of a mess since they hired Doc Rivers, really. So just no way I could put my money on this Milwaukee team.
Yeah, so Jesse likes the Orlando Magic as a pick 'em or a money line pick, whatever way you want to go with this. Of course, if they give you a point and a half, I would suggest taking that. But again, Orlando is our pick in that game over Milwaukee. Sean, we just discussed this about getting to the finish line healthy. If you can't improve upon your playoff seeding much, I understand that Milwaukee has struggled and needs to get it right, but this is a prime example. You're playing Giannis, and now he's hurt. And like Jesse said, it's a little concerning, even though it's a calf injury, that the layman would say, well, how long does it take to overcome a calf injury? Jesse gave you a perfect example of Kawhi Leonard when he was with the Spurs. So in any event, Sean, any thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, you can't blame the Bucks for playing them. People are like, "Oh, why is he playing in a game not to win?" Well, you've lost 4 in a row with everybody playing. You gotta have a little momentum going. And the fact that Doc Rivers is 18-18, they said the other guy who was 31-12 or whatever the heck he was, oh, he's not winning enough. This guy's a 500 coach since he's taken over this club, and now you lost. I won't be shocked if they get bounced in the first round. I mean,
yeah,
they got problems. It's Orlando or nothing. You have to take Orlando here, and I know it's like. Fade injury report. The guy's down, step up. Well, they have not been playing good anyway. I mean, you beat a Celtics team who's all right. Maybe they could have made a statement. They don't need to make a statement. They got 60 wins or whatever like they got. No, Bucks are in trouble. You made a big deal for Lillard. Sorry, first round exit possible for me. I'll be looking to go against them every game when the playoffs start on whatever Tuesday or Wednesday next week, whenever they start up.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to use the NC State analogy where they struggled down the stretch of the season, went in 17-14 and got to the Final Four. The NBA is a little different in that regard. It's not like they've been playing without a superstar and struggling, and the superstars coming back in the playoffs. That's not the case. The Doc Rivers move has not worked out. I mean, I don't know. You fire a coach that's 31-12. I got to believe that's internal. I got to believe that was player driven, players going to management and saying, we don't like the style in which this guy wants us to play. And, when you let the inmates run the asylum, this is what happens, right? So in any event,
a guy did get fired for using that analogy, Ross, and I heard it on the tip of your tongue. I was wondering if it was going to come out, but
yeah, you can't say that.
It's touch and go if we can say that anymore.
Oh my goodness, you
can't say that because asylums are bad. You can't have asylums. We need to bring back asylums.
When you let the players run the organization and not the GM and the coaches run the organization, how's that? Okay. hopefully that I'm going to be able to recant that statement.
I
So
need to
the
put my
show
wife
can
and
continue. By the way, give
wife
us a
and daughter
like.
in asylum with their
Give us
ultimate
a like
addictions.
if you like what you're hearing here. All right, let me look.
Give us a like if you like asylums.
We all belong in one on this show, anyway.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
complaints from me.
so
100%.
we're in the sports betting industry. I don't know, that's a whole different asylum. Anyway, Timberwolves at the Nuggets right now. Denver is a 5.5 point favorite. The total in this game is 212.5. Both teams are playing with no rest, and that's important. I look at the no rest factor at this time of year, and then look at how teams have done playing with no rest throughout the course of the season, especially when it gets this late in the year, it becomes more pertinent to me. And like I said, both of these teams are playing for something. They're tied for the number one seed in the Western Conference, and Oklahoma City's only a game behind each one of them. So there's a lot to play for here because the number one seed, of course, will award you home court advantage throughout the Western Conference playoffs. But Minnesota 7-0 to the over this year when playing with no rest and the total being 217.5 or less. I bring up that parameter with the total because they're so good defensively, Minnesota. And when you get this low a total, it would seem like with no rest, tired legs, you want to go under the total, but that hasn't been the case. I mean, those 7 games had an average of 212 for a total, and they scored 222.4 points per game. So Denver, on the other hand, 5-1 to the over in their last 6 when the total is 218 or less. So this Denver is not like Minnesota where you're going to get some low totals. Denver mostly is in the 220s, in low 230s. But when they're this low, they've played over the total with regularity. Minnesota, the last 5 games offensively, 118 points per game, 48.5% shooting, 41.6% from the three-point line. Denver, the last 5, 118.6 points per game, 50.7% shooting, 44.4% from the three-point line. This is a Minnesota team, as I alluded to, really good defensively, allowing just 106.2 points per game. But you know what? Over the last 3 seasons, Denver's played 18-5 to the over at home when facing teams that only allow 108 points or less. So they fared very well against good defensive teams in those games. Averaged a combined 228.6 points per game. And if those games were in the second half of the season, from game 42 on, Denver played 11-2 to the over at home during those games 42 and on, and through the last 3 seasons when the total, when they're facing a team that allows 108 or less. So I'm going to go Denver and Minnesota game to go over the total at 212.5. Again, Jesse, I can see you. I can't see you agreeing with me on this, but I may be might be correct.
Well, let me explain myself, Ross. At first glance, I mean, I'm a Denver Nuggets guy. I had Denver winning the championship last year when the playoffs started. And I had Joker winning the MVP, and I got robbed. So I firmly believe that Joker is the MVP, and I firmly believe that Denver is the better team. So knee-jerk reaction, I want to be on Denver and the under in this game. But the reality is Denver is a 5.5 point favorite, and they haven't covered. I think they failed to cover in 6 straight versus Minnesota. And even though they beat them in the playoffs, you look at that series, the majority of the games were close. I think they played, a week ago, and Minnesota beat them. So there's no value. Like, as much as I want to be on Denver, I can see that there's no value even if you do want to be on Denver. And I think the total is the same way. I want to be on the under, but the total's too low. There's no value if you want to be on the under. So I certainly hear where you're coming from. Let's put it that way.
Well, you might have got robbed out of the MVP with Joker, Jesse, but I could tell you, you're the MVP over the last month at gamblersworld.net. And folks, you should check out Jesse's premium paid selections. Make an investment with him, whether it's a single game, multi-game daily package, or a subscription plan of 3, 7, or 30 days. It's all guaranteed. And Jesse right now, number 1 at the site since its inception in terms of money earned. So he's my MVP, and I'm sure he's Sean's MVP as well, because he idolizes Sean, and Sean better back him up for an MVP award. In any event, Sean, your take on this contest here.
Well, I mean, I like Minnesota here just based on it's two teams, a lot to play for. I'm getting a good amount of points. Why wouldn't and I don't even think this is like one of those heavier kind of numbers. Like we talked about the Suns game last night. Like, wow, 7.5. This is crazy. It looks a little big, and then Clippers come out and roll them. This one isn't that kind of number. This makes sense because Denver are defending champs, good at home. They're a really good team. So this line's right about right. I just feel like I was high on Minnesota. I thought Minnesota could come out of the West this year. I liked them last year. I think this is a step forward year for them. So I like the Wolves in the points here. Total wise, I'd probably go over because if I expected Minnesota to win, I know they're a defensive first team, but I expect a fight from Denver to get some points on the board. But I'll take the 5.5, whatever I get here, 5.5, 6. I'll take the most points. Give me the T-Wolves.
All right, so there you have it. That's our breakdown on all three games in the NBA, our free picks tonight. I'm going Minnesota, Denver over 212.5. Mr. Sean Higgs likes the Mavs and Heat over 215. Mr. Jesse Schule, he likes the Orlando Magic over the Milwaukee Bucks. Right now, that line is a pick 'em. And he likes them either way, whether a favorite dog or pick 'em. He likes the Orlando Magic. So there you have it, folks. That's our picks for Wednesday, April the 10th. We'll be back tomorrow with Doug Upstone and Chip Chirimbus talking more free pick winners. And then on Friday, our live show, and it may be our final live show until football season. Jesse won't be with us on Friday. He's got travel arrangements, taking his family on vacation, and right now, it's just me and Sean. Not sure if anybody else will be joining us, but I think me and Sean can carry the load for it without Mr. Schule, although we will.
I'll do Jesse's share of the talking. Don't worry about it, Ross. I got you covered.
That won't be hard.
I will.
Are you going to see Vietnam? Are you going to Vietnam?
Yeah, let's go to see Robin Williams.
My brother's in country from Canada, and me and him are going to Vietnam for a few days.
Yeah. All right, nice.
Yeah. So there you have it. So you have a good time, Jesse. Be safe, my man. Sean, I'll see you on Friday, and we'll see the rest of you tomorrow when we'll have Doug Upstone and Chip Chirimbus join us. Until the next time. Oh, Jesse, tell the folks what to do with the like button.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation for the work and time that we put into bringing you a quality podcast, and also to make our sponsor, which is gamblersworld.net, happy. And take care and God bless, folks.